Man found stray kittens, but they turned out to be not so harmless after all. The farmer was very surprised to discover several helpless kittens abandoned by someone on his farm. He felt sorry for the poor creatures and took them home, but he was shocked when the pets grew up and turned out to be not just harmless cats. Logan was a farmer, following in his father's footsteps. He owned a beautiful plot of land nestled at the foot of a towering mountain. Logan spent his days working in the fields, a task that brought him genuine joy. In the evenings, he would relax on his porch, taking in the breathtaking view of the snow-capped peaks. He also cared for several cows and goats, which grazed in the meadow during the day before he brought them into a warm, spacious barn at night. One morning, Logan entered the barn to let the cows and goats out to the field and retrieve his tools from a far corner. As he reached for them, he nearly cried out in surprise and froze in place. Right there, nestled in the hay, were several fluffy, homeless kittens. The kittens were surprisingly large, and Logan realized he had never seen a breed like this before. As he reached out to pick one up for a closer look, the kittens bristled and growled, refusing to let the stranger approach. Looking around, Logan saw no sign of a mother cat, making it unlikely she had brought them to the barn. It was also unlikely that one of the neighbors had abandoned them since Logan's farm was far from other buildings. Therefore, the appearance of these fluffy bundles in the barn was a real mystery. However, the answer to this question could be found later. Much more important was deciding what to do with the abandoned pets now. First, Logan brought several small pieces of meat into the barn and threw them to the kittens. However, the animals only sniffed the offered treat with interest but refused to eat it. It seemed the kittens still couldn't chew solid food despite their impressive size. Logan realized that without his help, the animals would perish, so he needed to do something urgently. The farmer put on thick gloves that protected his hands almost up to the elbows and carefully placed the disgruntled kittens one by one into a large basket, then closed the lid. He then took the kittens into the house and allocated a small room for them, placing several blankets in the corner so the animals could settle down comfortably. Logan tried not to disturb the kittens as the presence of a human clearly made them nervous. The question of feeding the kittens remained unresolved. Logan warmed some milk, poured it into a bowl, and placed it in front of the babies. The kittens cautiously sniffed the bowl and then eagerly attacked the offered treat, drinking every drop. The farmers sighed with relief, understanding that the strange kittens would not starve to death. Several days passed, and the kittens quickly got used to their new home and began to play, showing their mischievous and playful nature. Logan visited the room with the babies several times a day to bring them another portion of milk and clean up their mess. After a couple of weeks, the kittens stopped fearing the human and began to let him come much closer. However, Logan could see that these were not ordinary domestic pets, but perhaps some very rare breeds or animal hybrids. Soon, the kittens began to eat meat, so the farmer added it to their diet more often. Logan even left the door to the house slightly open, allowing the kittens to run outside. The babies frolicked happily in the yard, but always returned after a few hours, seeming to have grown accustomed to their new home and the kind man who had saved them. Logan noticed that the kittens had already caught and eaten mice several times, meaning the growing pet's hunting instincts were beginning to show. Moreover, the kittens were not very affectionate with the owner and did not snuggle up to him as ordinary domestic pets do. Of course, the animals were grateful to the man for his invaluable help, but they remained very independent and even majestic like true predators. At the same time, all the kittens were very energetic and incredibly charming, so Logan enjoyed watching their games in the yard or their hunting for rodents. Despite the fact that the rescued babies were not very affectionate with the man, they quickly became friends with his domestic cat named Izzy. Izzy, who had already given birth to kittens several times, also accepted the animals she found and began to take care of them as if they were her own. The domestic cat taught the kittens everything she knew and sometimes even participated in their mischievous games at home and in the yard. The farmer also noticed that the pets loved to hide in small holes and between rocks, from where they often watched their prey. Over time, the kittens' fur became very thick and dense, allowing them to stay outside for long periods without getting cold. Despite the rather unusual behavior of domestic cats, Logan got used to his new amazing pets and gave them ordinary cat names, which they eventually began to respond to. Several months passed, and the animals found in the barn had grown significantly and became completely independent. Logan was very pleased with such neighbors, as the beautiful cats not only delighted him with their games, but also helped the farmer fight the periodically appearing rodents on the farm. Sometimes, the cats even allowed the kind man to stroke their backs, and the farmer marveled at how soft and thick their fur was. One day, when one of Logan's cows fell ill, he had to call a veterinarian. The specialist arrived only the next day since the nearest settlement was quite far away. After examining the sick cow and prescribing the necessary treatments and medications, the veterinarian noticed the unusual cats playing with each other near the farmer's house. The veterinarian approached to get a closer look at the farmer's pets, but this did not please the animals, who, frightened by the stranger, hid between the rocks as usual. Nevertheless, the veterinarian managed to get a good look at the cats and asked Logan in surprise where he had gotten these animals. The farmer explained that he had found them in the barn several months ago and raised them. The veterinarian smiled broadly and shocked Logan with unexpected news. It turned out that all this time, he had been caring not for ordinary cats, but for real wild predators from the feline family. These were palace cats, which look like domestic cats and are very rarely seen by people in the wild, so not everyone knows what they look like. These predatory cats are excellent at camouflage, so even if a person accidentally encounters them in the wild, they will most likely pass by without noticing the hidden palace's cat. Moreover, there are very few of these amazing animals left in the world, and they are even threatened with extinction. The kittens in the barn had somehow been orphaned and sought shelter in the building. It was possible their mother had fallen victim to poachers seeking her thick, valuable fur, or perhaps she had succumbed to illness. The kittens were fortunate that Logan took pity on them and provided care. Otherwise, they might have faced a tragic fate. Discovering the incredible truth, Logan was both astonished and thrilled to realize he had saved members of an endangered species. Without hesitation, he and the veterinarian contacted a conservation organization to report their extraordinary discovery. For the ecologists, it was a rare opportunity to support the conservation of Palace's cats by providing them with the care and attention they needed. Once specialists confirmed that the cats were healthy and their lives were no longer at risk, they were released back into the wild to aid in the recovery of this unique species population. What an incredible story! If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave a comment below. See you in the next video.